Welcome, history lovers, to another epic journey into the shadows of the ancient past. Golden pharaohs built eternal monuments, believing their mighty empire would conquer time itself. Yet, the greatest threat to Egypt came not from foreign swords, but from brutal starvation deep within. When the sacred Nile ran dry, desperate men turned their chisels against the tombs of ancient gods. How did the legendary Ramesses dynasty fall into dust? Let us uncover this tragedy. We start in the 12th century before Christ, during the glorious reign of Pharaoh Ramesses III. Egypt stood alone against the Sea Peoples, defending its borders with unmatched military might. Ancient records show this massive victory saved the realm, but fully emptied the royal treasury. The vast wealth of the nation was burned in the fires of war, leaving nothing for the generations to come. After this triumph, the great new kingdom began a slow, agonizing period of endless decline. Successive rulers taking the throne were weak, lacking the divine strength and vision of their great ancestors. Ramesses IV and his successors watched helplessly as royal power slipped through their frail fingers. Inside dim palaces, kings became mere figureheads, drowning in the heavy shadows of their past glory. While the royal throne crumbled in the north, a terrifying new power rose in the southern city of Thebes. The high priests of Amun at Karnak began gathering immense wealth and deep political influence. They slowly took control of the sacred farmlands, hoarding the nation's precious grain in massive silos. Clad in white linen, these holy men turned their divine authority into absolute earthly power. Karnak Temple became a parallel state, richer and more organized than the royal palace itself. While the pharaoh struggled to pay his weary soldiers, the high priests bathed in rivers of gold and luxury. This fatal division of power planted toxic seeds of destruction deep within the empire's heart. The divine order of Ma'at, which held the universe together, was slowly breaking apart at the seams. A kingdom cannot survive when its spiritual guides become greedy leaders obsessed with endless wealth. The common people, who once worshipped the pharaoh as a living god, began to question his protection. They saw the priests grow fat while the royal granaries stood empty, and the state's military grew weak. Without a strong central leader to unite the lands, local governors began acting like sovereign kings. Corruption spread like a deadly plague through official ranks, paralyzing the state's entire machinery. Royal scribes falsified tax records to protect the temple's wealth, leaving the royal treasury starved. The grand era of empire building was finally over, replaced by a bitter struggle for mere resources. Even the mighty bronze weapons of the army began to rust, with no funds left to equip the royal guards. It was a silent, creeping decay, a cancer that hollowed out the roots of the greatest civilization. The pharaohs were blind to the coming storm, believing the gods would somehow restore their fading majesty. The gods remained silent in their dark sanctuaries, accepting lavish offerings of the corrupt priesthood. The stage was set for an epic disaster, a crisis that would push the Egyptian people to the brink. History shows when a state fails to feed its people, the fragile illusion of civic order shatters. Tragically for the Ramesses kings, nature was about to deliver the final devastating blow. By the year 1159 before Christ, the skies turned merciless and the vital climate shifted. The sacred Nile River, the beating heart of Egyptian farming, failed to rise for several tragic years. Scorching winds blew across the parched earth, turning once fertile farming valleys into cracked, lifeless deserts. Famine swept the divided nation like a wildfire, bringing agonizing hunger to millions of homes. In Deir el-Medina, the elite craftsmen who built the royal tombs faced a truly devastating crisis. For months, the royal state failed to deliver vital rations of wheat and barley to the hungry village. These highly skilled artisans, who carved the Valley of the Kings, were now slowly starving to death. Children cried for bread in dusty streets, while the state ignored their desperate pleas for basic survival. Driven by pure desperation and righteous anger, the tomb builders dropped their bronze chisels and mallets. They marched out of their hidden valley and completely blocked the entrance to the sacred death temples. This historic event marks the very first recorded labor strike in all of human civilization. The workers boldly chanted, "We are hungry, we are thirsty," demanding justice from a paralyzed state. Terrified royal scribes cowered behind stone walls, clutching empty scrolls, unable to fix the crisis. The state's absolute failure to pay its top workers proved the royal government had fully collapsed. Delayed grain rations were only the beginning of a deeply sinful chapter in Egyptian history. When the peaceful strikes failed to bring enough food, the desperate villagers turned their eyes towards the mountains.
We will not work.
They knew exactly where the greatest treasures of the ancient world were buried, hidden beneath golden sand. Under total darkness, the men who built the royal tombs became organized and ruthless grave robbers. They smashed through the limestone seals of the sacred burial chambers they had once sworn to protect with their lives. Flaming torches lit the dark, revealing mountains of pure gold, lapis lazuli, and silver artifacts. They ripped golden masks from mummified bodies of ancient pharaohs, melting down the divine flesh of the gods. Hungry royal guards, also abandoned by the failing state, gladly accepted bribes to look the other way. The sacred balance of Ma'at was shattered. Violating the holy dead became a tragic, normal act. If your family was starving, would you violate the sacred resting place of your ancestors to survive? This profound moral decay mirrored the rotting empire, a nation eating its own glorious past. The high priests did nothing to stop the looting, secretly enriching themselves with stolen golden treasures. Royal mummies were hastily moved from tomb to tomb, trying desperately to hide them from brutal thieves. The Valley of the Kings, a majestic symbol of eternal life, became a tragic scene of deep despair. The Ramesside kings had lost control of the living and now could not protect the sanctity of the dead. By the late 11th century BC, the Egyptian empire was paralyzed and broken in two. The final ruler, Ramesses XI, sat alone in his fading palace, devoid of any true power. He was a tragic figure, a living ghost wearing an oversized crown, watching his world fade to darkness. With the realm rotting from inside, there was no magical savior, no grand battle to restore lost glory. The only real solution to this deep political tension was a bitter, silent, and permanent split. The unified kingdom of the two lands finally split, severing the ancient bond between the north and south. In the northern city of Tanis, a wealthy lord named Smendes declared himself the new pharaoh. Smendes tried to maintain ancient kingship, but his pure power rarely reached beyond his own city walls. In the southern capital of Thebes, the ambitious priest Herihor dropped all false pretenses of loyalty. Herihor claimed full power over the south, ruling as a dictator under the banner of Amun. He sat on a lavish throne of lapis lazuli, surrounded by massive wealth and armed temple guards. The high priest became the true king in all but name, ending the silent coup that took decades to complete. This dramatic division marked the final end of the New Kingdom, Egypt's most glorious golden age. The dynasty lacked a heroic final stand. It simply withered away like a dying desert flower. The pharaoh's divine right to rule was nothing more than a fragile illusion built on grain and gold. Without pure military strength and stability, the gods themselves seemed to abandon the royal bloodline. The great monuments of Karnak and Luxor now served as headquarters for a corrupt, earthly state. Religion was entirely weaponized, used not for spiritual growth, but to justify brutal tax. The unified state that had conquered Nubia and the Levant was now a fractured, vulnerable landscape. Trade routes dried up, diplomacy vanished, and the grand Bronze Age civilization turned inwards in deep fear. Egypt would never again reach the heights of global power it enjoyed under Ramesses the Great. The era of building hidden tombs in the Valley of the Kings was abandoned out of pure necessity. Later kings would be buried in humble mud brick complexes within the safety of northern temple walls. The brilliant light of the Egyptian sun had finally set, plunging ancient lands into the Third Dark Age. When leaders choose wealth over the survival of their people, is true collapse inevitable? This tragic event serves as a timeless warning about the profound fragility of all human empires. It proves internal corruption is a deadlier weapon than any sword of an invading army. The great pharaohs conquered the world, yet they utterly failed to conquer the greedy hearts of their own people. Their legacy was left fractured, buried beneath shifting sands, waiting for modern experts to uncover. Today, the Valley of the Kings stands silent, its treasures long gone, its epic frescoes fading in the dark. Desert winds howl through empty corridors, whispering tragic tales of starving builders and the fallen kings. A lone nomad wanders past the shattered ruins of a grand statue, unaware of the pure power it once held. The pure majesty of the Ramesside era is reduced to broken stones baking beneath the harsh desert sun. The gods have left the silent temples, leaving behind only deep echoes of a collapsed civilization. Though golden masks were melted down, the tragic story of human greed remains carved in the ancient limestone. Time has buried the pharaohs, but their profound failure continues to speak to us across the millennia. The tragic end of the Ramesside era is a timeless mirror for modern civilizations. It proves that no stone wall is high enough to protect a nation against deep internal rot. The once powerful pharaohs were swallowed by the very desert they claimed to conquer forever. The grand city of Thebes lost its golden glory, slowly becoming a shadow of its former self. Karnak's massive pillars stand as a testament to human arrogance and divine abandonment. The descendants of the great builders completely forgot the glorious secrets of their ancestors. The kingdom's boundless wealth was scattered, traded away, or stolen by ruthless desert raiders. Even the mighty Nile returned to its cycle, but it was far too late for the fallen kings. A new dark era began, characterized by foreign invaders and hopelessly fractured lands. The forgotten story of the striking workers remains a powerful lesson in basic human rights. The new kingdom fell tragically, leaving behind stone monuments that long outlasted its rulers. The glorious golden age of Egypt faded into the silent chapters of dark antiquity. But our earth is vast, And the pure wrath of nature is not limited to the burning desert. Across the deep blue sea, another grand empire was building its own magnificent stone cities. They too believed they were fully untouchable by the devastating forces of the angry earth. Pompeii was not the first place where the fire of nature swallowed a glorious civilization. Prepare for the sudden return of nature's fury in a completely different era next time. The Ramesses dynasty fell not by war, but by the devastating greed of men and nature's wrath. Do you think a corrupt priesthood or a dying river was the true killer of this mighty empire? Share your thoughts below. Please remember to like and subscribe to our channel for more untold history.